Hi everybody, my name is Carly Waterman and I am the head teacher at Lodge Park Academy in Corby in Northamptonshire in England in the United Kingdom. And it is a real privilege that I have been asked to talk about defending the right to an education for all children for your incredible broadcast today. Now I just need to start with a confession. I need to start by letting you know that I didn't really know about the British Southern Cameroons until quite recently, until my wonderful colleague Marianne Doe talked to me all about her legacy, her history, and everything that's happened in the British Southern Cameroons. And I heard about the refugee camps, and I also then mobilised our school community to raise money for the refugee camps, particularly to support children who are being taught in makeshift classrooms in those refugee camps. And I want to say to you that I feel ashamed, in a sense, that I didn't know about it beforehand. And it really makes me wonder and worry about the other human rights abuses that are taking place all around the world that aren't making their way into the mainstream media and that we aren't really hearing about. And I'm really grateful to Marianne for bringing the plight of young people and indeed all the people within the British Southern Cameroons to our attention, because it's really important that we know. And no, we may not be able to change things overnight and we may not be able to make a massive difference tomorrow or next week, but actually with a concerted effort, with collective energy and over a long period of time, we really can make a difference. And I'm really delighted at the difference that the Friends of British Southern Cameroons are making. And I'm really pleased that everyone at Lodge Park Academy has been able to contribute to that. But really the reason that I've been asked to speak to you today is defending the right to education for all children. And I think one of the things that I want to say most clearly is that all of the young people who, for example, come here at Lodge Park Academy or come to school here in England really do not realise, they absolutely do not realise how lucky and blessed and privileged they are. And they do take it for granted, the privilege of youth. Sometimes they don't realise quite how lucky they are. But we realise. And what we do is we make it our endeavour to show them and tell them that actually what they have is something incredible that so many young people around the world do not have. And it's been really interesting to be able to bring to them, to their attention, the plight of young people who are in refugee camps in the countries surrounding the British Southern Cameroons because they've been displaced. And it's been really interesting for me to talk to the young people here at our school about the young people in the refugee camps and seeing the penny drop, seeing them realise that actually, whilst they get dressed into their uniforms and come to school every single day, there are other young people who just do not have that privilege, who don't have access to equipment, who don't have access to computers, don't have access to textbooks, don't have access to expert teachers. And it really, really has opened their eyes and made them realise that they are lucky and privileged. And I think that's really where the action needs to happen. We need to recognise those who are in positions of power and privilege in the world are the ones that can make the difference. So by mobilising our young people to recognise that they are lucky and that actually there are other young people across the world that don't have the same blessed gifts, then actually we will make a difference in the end. And I'm reminded really of some of the young people, not only in our country, but obviously in the British Southern Cameroons and the refugee camps surrounding it and in other places around the world. I'm reminded of young people who actually feel this absolute burning desire to learn. And what we find is that even in the darkest places, even in the places where young people have been abused or they have been mistreated or they've had such a terrible, terrible life, they still have this instinctive desire to learn. It's a very human thing, and it's something that I see most often in young people. And interestingly, it really does occur at times when you think children might have given up, that they might think I've been so mistreated or life has been so cruel to me that actually what does it matter about education and learning? But in those instances, I find that actually that's where our young people are most resilient. And what they really, really then want to do is to really just get every single opportunity they can to be taught and to learn and to expand their horizons. I think there's something in young people, isn't there? There's something in them that makes them realise that this is their ticket to a better life. This is their right, and it is their entitlement, that actually they come into this earth in a way which they are, open to learning, and they are curious and they are keen to know, and they will ask questions. And I think that spark that they have, those young people all across the world, but particularly in places where there has been war or human rights abuses, that spark is something that we just need to nurture, and we need to protect it more than anything else, because it's potential that spark will go out. It's that there is the potential that actually if we don't take advantage of that feeling, that desire and that wish to learn, that in the end it will peter out as they get older, and then it's too late. So for all of the young people who are in the refugee camps, but also for all of the young people around the world who don't have the privilege of the students here at Lodge Park Academy, what we need to do together collectively is make sure that we are working on their behalf, that we are taking action to make sure that that spark of curiosity that they have, that desire for learning, is not something that's forgotten. It's something that's nurtured and grown and developed as much as possible. And that's what, that's what we all do, as educators and as people who are interested in supporting the British Southern Cameroons and other charities as well. That's what we do, don't we? We recognise that there is a need. We recognise that there is a deficit, and then we work really closely together to try and raise awareness and make change happen. And sometimes I know it's hard. I know it's really, really hard when you're campaigning for something and you want change to happen in the world, and there's a sense of frustration that doesn't happen quickly enough, or it doesn't happen comprehensively enough. But what we must never, ever do is give up hope, because the work that we all do, that all of us do to make sure that children are educated, that will change the world. The education that we give our children is the thing that is going to make the difference in the future. Because what's the risk is, of course, that if we don't do that, then we raise a generation of young people who haven't had that access to learning and haven't had that access to education. And then there'll be a darker world in the future. And it's education that will help young people to recognise where there are abuses, to recognise where actually power can be corrupting, to recognise that actually what we need in this world more than anything else is hope, compassion and kindness. And so education is multifaceted. Not only is it about learning the knowledge of the world and being able to go on to, bigger and brighter things through qualifications and access, it's also about developing you as a human. And I feel this very, very strongly here in my own school as well, that actually children who come to school, they're not just here for their lessons. Of course, that's important, absolutely really important. But actually what they are here is to develop as a human being. And I like to think that the very, very main reason that I do what I do, and the reason that we all do what we do, is because every single child deserves a life well lived. And without education, they can't have a life well lived. And that makes me get up in the morning. It makes all of you carry on doing all of the campaigning that you're doing. It makes all of us want to take action on behalf of young children across the world. And so we must never stop. However hard it seems, we must always carry on. So today, I'm really sorry that I can't be with you live, but I am absolutely delighted to have been asked to just record this short talk for you about defending the right to education for all children. And I want to wish you all the very, very best in your fantastic work that you're doing to raise the profile of the human rights abuses going on in the British Southern Cameroons. And please know that actually through education, I have learned about that. Through education, my young people have learned about what's going on in the British Southern Cameroons. And so therefore we must keep educating people, because if we keep doing that, we will in the end make a difference. And I wish you all every success with that, and will support you as much as I possibly can. Thank you for your time today, and good luck with the rest of your conference.